So what happened? So what happened in that 2.5 hours that I was in her office? What caused the massive shift when we didn't even talk about drugs at all? We went back and found out where I was holding on to the main suppressed emotions from my childhood. We found out when I had formed limiting beliefs about myself. Limiting beliefs like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I don't love myself, life is hard, I'm not confident, I'm not worthy of love. Okay? And we started to shift those. It started off with a belief that I couldn't be vulnerable. I believed that I could not be vulnerable in front of anyone. So I spent 30 years never letting anyone see me struggle. Do you know how much energy that takes? To have someone not see you struggle? You're wearing a mask all the time. Okay, so I was seen from the outside as everyone who's killing it and that kind of thing. It was just due to this stupid belief. Because I saw, like a lot of people in this country, men particularly, that vulnerability is a weakness, whereas vulnerability is an absolute strength. Once I was able to realize that and where it came from and shift it, I was able to open up and be vulnerable. I was then able to go back to my marriage breakup, and I was able to actually release all the emotion that I had built up during that time. I was able to get past that to a point where I saw my marriage breakup as a gift. One of the most horrible events in my life I saw as a gift. That's how you know when a real healing takes place. When I can look back on something that I'm like, that was shit, that was shit, that was shit, now I can say thank you. Okay, that's a healing. I then got to the root cause of me not loving myself. Consciously, I tell myself I love myself all the time. Okay, a few years before, I got stuck into personal development, got right into it, got into positive thinking. Positive thinking's great, but if you've got underlying emotional shit, that positive thinking is very, very dangerous because the negative stuff has to surface somewhere. And if you're telling yourself everything's okay, then that negative stuff manifests in a bad way like it did for me. So I got to this core of me actually not loving myself, and I was able to let that go. And in that moment, something very, very special happened. Everything went quiet in the room. And Melissa said to me, I remember, I can never forget, she said, "What's happening now?" And I started crying. And I said, I'm completely and utterly 100% with myself, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be. And in that moment, I completely loved and accepted myself for who I was for the first time in my life. And that feeling has never left me. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Okay, that feeling has never left me. I didn't know that feeling was attainable. All of a sudden, that void that I had had my whole life was filled. I no longer had any void, and I knew in that moment I no longer need to use drugs. I no longer need to escape from this because this is fucking beautiful. That's what happened in that session.